20% off with a certain membership. It's 20% off of every purchase as long as you have your ID on you, but that goes for pretty much everything 511 gear. Third party is excluded, but you also get plenty of other benefits. If you want to ask Mr. Ashley about it, he can definitely let you know throughout the class, but that's it.
Awesome, Eric. We appreciate it. All right, guys. Give her a round of applause. All right. Well, cool, guys. Like I said, my name's Ashley. I do work for a company by the name of Delta Defense. We are the service provider for the USCCA, that's United States Concealed Carry Association. We've got a couple of members in here, right here, you guys. Awesome. Anybody else a member? Perfect. So the USCCA, guys, is a national organization or an association. We've got about 875,000 members across the country. Everything we do is focused on training and education. We've been developing nationally recognized curriculum for instructors, ranges, but what we love to do is get out into the community and just try to educate people on different topics. This one's kind of pertinent right now. We're hitting the summertime. Everybody's about to hit the road, right? Jump in the RV, jump in the bus, go camping, all those good things. I got my daughter. I made her go through the class, her and her boyfriend. They're leaving early July to fly up to Washington. They're going to be up in Mount Rainier and spend about a week and a half up there, so make sure she goes through the class as well. So it's a great opportunity just to come in here. My man right here, Mike Ortiz, is going to be our primary instructor tonight. He's the USCCA certified instructor. He volunteers his time as well to come out and do this type of stuff with us, which is pretty awesome. But we're going to be kind of talking about, hey, travel. What do we need to be thinking about? Whether that's road tripping, flying somewhere, anything you might be thinking about doing over the summertime. Yourself, your family, whoever you might be doing, hey, just be better prepared. Let's make sure when we drive out of that driveway, we get on that plane, that we're as prepared as possible and stay safe while we're out there. So I'll let Mr. Ortiz introduce himself, and we'll jump in from there. And I'll come back and talk to you guys more about some of the additional benefits of membership with the USCCA if you're not already a member, and one of the other big benefits you get with that 20% discount tonight.
Awesome. Once again, my name is Mike Ortiz, retired law enforcement officer, retired military, Sergeant Major. Last tour of duty was in Afghanistan, 08, 09, so I've been out for a while. I just got through traveling myself. I went to Canadian Rockies. If you ever get a chance, highly recommend it. Great place, beautiful, people are great. But travel is definitely getting a little bit sketchy depending on the place you go in the United States, unfortunately. And you know, a lot of times you're not looking for trouble at all, but trouble will come to you, right? Depending on where you're at. So
especially in those touristy areas, right? They know it's a tourist area. That's where bad people go to take advantage of people who aren't familiar with the area.
Yeah, and a lot of times we don't know the areas. We could inadvertently go into areas that you're like, well, I'm just driving through this neighborhood. It's kind of interesting, and you're in some gang-infested neighborhood, right? And you don't even know. You didn't mean to be there, but you're there. So tonight in the class, there's kind of pointers on what we should do, right? The biggest thing is just planning. Plan your trip. If you know you're going to Washington, right, and you're driving that way, pull out a map or get on Google Maps, whatever you choose to do, and look, hey, where is everything? What gas stations are there? What rest stops are there? Am I going to stay in a hotel? What kind of hotels are they? Look at the reviews. Reviews are pretty good. I look at a lot of reviews now just to see what people are thinking, and kind of, you know, top to bottom, you know, I'll hit the 1 stars, I'll hit the 5 stars, 3 stars, and go like, okay, why did they not like this? Why did they think this was great? These hotel people owning the hotel, putting the 5-star on. So things like that, just simple things, folks, just common sense, and just try to make yourself aware as much as you possibly can.
For our young folks out there, paper maps are still a thing, okay? Technology does fail at some point. If it fails, you might want to back up and have to be able to actually operate a paper map. So.
Yeah, I actually got a trucking map inside my truck. I got it from a truck stop. It's actually laminated, Random McNally. Shows all the major highways, right? You know those things aren't going to change. It's all the little stuff in between that'll change. And sometimes Google Maps is really good. Sometimes Maps is good. And other times you're going like, why am I getting on a dirt road? This is not where I need to go. So.
And I always think about like Waze, Google Maps, and all that. Does it take you the safest route possible?
should only have the AI built in, right?
No, it takes you the fastest way possible. They don't, it doesn't really pay attention to what's safe, what's unsafe, just gonna say, hey, what's the fastest way to get you there? Well, unfortunately, there's no way to like change that up to take you the most scenic route or take you the safest route, so keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, so just common sense, folks, when you travel, look at where you're going. The biggest thing I would say is your gas stations. Look at gas stations. A lot of crime happens at gas stations, believe it or not. So I like to think the bigger gas stations, the better. Anybody familiar with like Love's?
Yeah.
It's like a trucking style gas station. Doesn't have to be that. Could be, one of the other stuff. But pretty much, yeah.
TA.
They're getting out of state too, right? So look at stuff like that as opposed to, oh, I'm going to stop at this Chevron because I like Chevron. Or I'm going to stop here and it's in the city. It's like, then you're kind of setting yourself up. I love stopping at QT, right? When I go drive through Texas, I'm always looking for a QT just because I like their beverage selection. They always seem to have my favorite energy drink, and I love the grilled cheeses. So one of those things, right? All right, let's get started. General safety tips. We're going to cover traveling with self-defense tools. We're going to discuss situational awareness, where you're sleeping. That's a big deal. And de-escalation of road rage. I'd say that's the biggest takeaway tonight, right? Because he seems to, at least maybe I'm paying way too much attention, but it seems like there's a lot more road rage going on, and a lot more people are pulling guns and shooting at people. And that's not very healthy, right? Especially if you're not looking for a fight. So we're going to cover that. Please ask questions. If there's something you're dying to know, please ask. Like I said earlier, when we're getting ready to go someplace, we always do regular checks, right? We plan ahead, try to see where we're going and see what's around there as much as we can. Awareness of the drivers, you do that every day, folks, right? Or maybe you don't. Start paying attention. Stay focused and rested. How many people like to push beyond 12 and 15 hours on the road? Yeah, I do it all the time, right? I get to a point where I'm like, okay, I gotta stop, right? Because I start hallucinating or something like that. Start doing that, it's time to pull over, all right? Get a hotel, go to a restaurant, go someplace where there's a lot of people where you could do that. If you hit the rooftops and you're in your truck or car or whatever, make sure you turn the engine off and lock the doors, right? Lock the doors. Because it'd be horrible for you to wake up and somebody's looking in your face and have no idea who that is, right? Here's a tip, a safety tip, to keep you not getting shot from cops. Do not sleep with your concealed carry on your chest or holding on the gun. That's probably not going to work. That'll probably get you shot or a broken window really quick. So it's okay you have it on you, but keep it in the holster, keep it away.
And I know we've all got super reliable vehicles, right? So we're about to hit the road for a road trip. Talk about planning ahead. Start looking at your vehicle. Hey, let's check those tires. What's the tread look like on those? We have the right amount of pressure in those. So we're checking all the fluids in the vehicle. Get that checkup done before you hit the road. Better to fix things there in your backyard as opposed to being 1,000 miles away and have to find somebody you can trust to fix the vehicle, or it breaks down out in West Texas somewhere on your way to New Mexico. Next thing you're out there in the middle of nowhere with a flat or having some type of engine problem. So make sure you're taking the time to get that car serviced, check those fluids, check the tires, just kind of be really aware of those type of things so that you be able to get on the road and you're safe with the vehicle.
One of the things I like to do, and I actually traveled obviously by airplane, I didn't drive the Canadian Rockies, fill my truck up with gas first, right? And then the parking lot I selected was closer to the terminal than parking way away. And the reason why I do that, number one, if something's happening when you get back, the last thing you want to do is be searching for gas in some place you don't know next to an airport. And two, a little bit more security. Yes, you're gonna, if you could afford it, pay for it, but it's better leave your truck, your car, whatever, in a secure place as opposed to a distant parking lot where, who knows what's going through, right? In the airport, they're constantly being patrolled. There's a ton of cameras all around, and it's not to detour the professional thief, because you will never detour them. They don't care about cameras, your security alarm, or anything like that. It's to prevent stupid people from breaking windows and just snatching and grabbing stuff. So if you can afford it, closer to the airport, fill your tank up before you park it, so that way you don't have to worry about that when you get home. That make sense? All right, firearms, knives, and non-lethal weapons. The fastest way to get arrested and have a federal charge is to bring a firearm in your carry-on bag and try to go through TSA. Fastest way. I know personally of some retired law enforcement officers that have been charged. And they have the creds to back it up, to carry it up, but they get charged like everybody else. So if you use your backpack or your bag for a range bag, I highly recommend you shake it out once, leave it alone, come back and shake it out again, stick your fingers through all the pockets and make sure there's no rounds or anything crazy in there. Because TSA, they don't have a sense of humor, okay? How many people have seen those tactical pins? 511 sells them, everybody sells them, right? They're made out of aluminum, they got a glass breaker. Restrictions such as 10-round magazines, no threaded barrels, right? And you're checking your firearm. If you go into that state with that firearm and they open that bag at that state, not from Texas, because obviously Texas doesn't have a problem with that, you may be charged with violating their laws just for bringing it in, right? You could say, oh yeah, well, Texas, they don't care how many rounds my magazine fits. Well, California does, New Jersey does, New York does, Connecticut does. There's quite a few states. So depending on where you're going, check, okay? What's the easiest way to do that?
Google.
Who's my USCCA member? What do you got to do?
The reciprocity part of the
Yeah,
website.
you could actually call, right? And they'll probably send, will they still send like PDF stuff? Will
Yeah,
they send you?
they've done that for some of my members, especially if you're road traveling or even if you're taking a plane. The app you can download, and if you're not a member, you can create a guest account. And through there, they've got reciprocity information. If you're a resident here in Texas, you put your I'm a resident here in Texas. If you got your LTC, you let them know you got your permit, and it'll automatically tell you all the states you can get reciprocity in. But it'll also give you all the laws, regulations, self-defense information, all that in that one app. But to his point, if you're driving through 5 or 6 different states and you're like, I don't want to read all these legalese and try to figure all this out, you can literally call up to the customer engagement team, let them know, hey, I'm going to be traveling through these areas. They'll walk you through state by state, and typically they'll just put that into a PDF for you, all the highlights, and then send it over to you. They're really good about that.
Everybody good with that? That's the simplest way to do that. Keep yourself safe, right? It's better for you to know than not to know, because the cops really don't care, right? They're all like, you violated the law. Well, I didn't know. You shouldn't know, okay? Stupid things. How many people know what an ASP baton is, a little collapsible baton? Can you legally carry that here? Can you legally possess that here in Texas? Yeah. You go to California, you know what that is? That's a felony. A felony, not a misdemeanor, a felony. Click, you're going to jail, and you're going to be charged as a felon, right? So things like that will get you in trouble. Brass knuckles. Are brass knuckles legal here?
Everything's legal in Texas.
Right? Go to some like New York or something like that, you're going to have issues, right? So when you're going, I got to protect myself. But there's a lot of places that are very strict, and it'll cost you a lot of money trying to defend yourself, and in the end, you'll probably end up going to get convicted anyways.
If someone has road rage and you have a flare gun in your
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh.
and you have a flare
that
gun.
would be a bad day for the other person, but
No. And they're trying to kill you, is it against the law to?
I don't know about that specifically, but I'm going to give you a general rule. A general rule. This pretty much goes for the majority of states, not all the states. If you feel your life is being threatened and you're going to suffer great bodily injury, in other words, you go break an arm, a leg, concussion, or death, where somebody points a gun at you. If I point a gun at Ashley and say, "Hey, stupid, give me your money," can he reasonably assume that I am going to shoot him?
Yep.
Might that cause great bodily injury or death?
Yep.
Absolutely. Can you use what's available for your means to defend yourself?
Yes.
Yes, within reason, if the threat is still present. Now, if I do that, right, and I point at him, and then I was like, ha! And I start running away, can he shoot me?
No,
Why not?
I don't know.
because you're leaving the scene.
No longer a threat, right? I'm no longer posing a threat. So using violence to counter violence, yes, there is legality to that, but the threat actually has to be present, imminent,
In your face.
and you have to believe that as a person, and you got to be able to sell that to the jury. The jury's got to be able to see what you see. Otherwise, you're going for a long ride in the courtroom. Another reason why to have insurance, right? As a general rule. Now, here's the bizarro part of that. There are some states where you have a duty to retreat before you defend yourself, before you use violence. So in other words, you got to try to get away. You got to try to avoid that in some way. I don't even know how that works. I won't even begin to try to figure that one out. But
But what if you have a
Texas, you don't have to worry about that. You
What
stand
if you-
around in essentially a castle doctrine.
what if you have a stalking RO or a PO against someone and you're traveling through their state? Let's say they stalked you and they threatened to kill you, and you carry that with you because you have to carry it with you. And there's 5 of them in a group and they come towards you.
My thought process from the legality is, why are you going to that state where you know? there's
Because
nothing?
you pass through that state to go to West Virginia or New
Yeah.
York.
So that would be my stupid legal hat.
You have
why,
to,
Why are you doing that?
because you're
Why
driving
didn't you
through.
fly over it? Why didn't you go around it? I'm not saying it's right, man. I'm just telling you, the legal system is kind of like making sausage, right? If you like sausage, don't ever go see how it's made, because you might not like it after, right? And that's kind of our legal system right now. You think common sense would dictate, certain courses of action and outcomes? It doesn't. Unfortunately, it doesn't, right? And we've seen that here in Texas, where people have claimed self-defense. The law enforcement has said, yeah, that was self-defense, right? The other
DA.
investigators, that's self-defense, and the district attorney does what?
No.
Charges a person with murder. Okay. How does that one work, right? Have no idea, other than they have an agenda. So, you got to be careful with that, right? Exercise extreme caution. If you have issues about carrying weapons, like you said, I'd contact USCCA if you're a member. Say, hey, this is my thing, consult with an attorney, right? You didn't stay at a Holiday Inn over the weekend, do that, right? I'm not an attorney.
Is it against the law for a felon to use a flare gun as a weapon?
I don't think that'd be considered a firearm, so
Yeah.
it should be fine.
And, the whole thing, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to Supreme Court, not to get off a tangent, but the Supreme Court's starting to rule that felons may not be 100% restricted from firearms. As a person, just because you're a felon, does not mean that you don't have the right to self-defense. Everybody understand that? Just because you've been convicted doesn't mean that you can't defend yourself or your family. You still have to be within the law, but it doesn't mean that you can't defend
It
yourself.
depends on what they were convicted of, right?
No, everybody has a right to self-defense. Everybody. You're an American. You have the right to self-defense. Okay? Just because you're convicted as a felon, and I'm not trying to advocate for felons, but they're people too. If somebody threatens them, they have ability to defend themselves also. Now, if you've been looking at the Supreme Court stuff, the Supreme Court just came out with a wild decision that kind of freaked everybody out. People who use marijuana, you cannot automatically take away their Second Amendment right. Period. That was the most recent thing I saw in Supreme Court, which shocked a lot of people because marijuana is considered what? Class 1, controlled substance, right? And if you're getting marijuana, okay, there's no real legal unless you have some medical condition or something like that. I know there's some states that have legalized that. But as a general rule, ATF has always said, no, that's a controlled substance. If you're using controlled substance and you admit to it, you don't have any rights to get a firearm. In fact, we will restrict you from purchasing a firearm. Well, the Supreme Court just came back and said, well,
Not necessarily.
not necessarily. Very narrow decision, right? Very narrow decision. But if that's any indication of where we're going, eventually you're going to have to make the argument that convicted felons, after they served their time, they did their parole, and they discharged, how do you continue to punish them? Because that's what it is. Taking away a right is a punishment.
But they shouldn't be punished.
Well, you can argue one way or another, but I'm just saying. So it's one of those things where it's way above my head as far as, I'm not an attorney. I'm a retired law enforcement officer. And I can tell you, we found controlled substance in your gun, you're going to jail. It was a no-brainer. Now, maybe not so much. All right, let's get back to this. Knives. Interesting thing about Canada, on the declaration, are you bringing in any switchblades?
That's very specific.
I'm like, no. My wife's all like, you go carry a knife? I always have a knife on me. Always, right? Always, knife, gun. Just goes together. I'm like, no, I'm not going to bring anything. I'm not even going to try to get through with a tactical pin. I'm just nothing. If I find something, I'll find something out there, right? So you got to be careful with that. You know, you're traveling, that's going to a different country. In the States, depending on where you're at, blade length, with the blade that you normally carry, can get you in trouble too, right? A dagger that probably 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people carry here in Texas, you see it on a sheath, that'll get you in trouble in a lot of states. So just be careful, okay? Non-lethal tools. What's that?
Bear spray.
Not so much bear spray, but yeah. Everybody always talking about bear spray. You gotta try that out. So pepper spray, right? Sometimes different places require you to have some type of training in that if you're going to carry that weapon, right? Pepper spray, taser. Civilians get tasers now. You can buy a taser. There's different kinds of them. A baton would be considered a non-lethal tool. Brass knuckles are definitely non-lethal, but like I said, that'll get you in trouble really quick. You go to try to bring that in different states. So you need to be aware of where you're traveling to and understand that those rules apply, not Texas rules. Make sense?
Does a stun gun count as taser, or is it a lesser?
It's non-lethal. Everybody understand the word non-lethal? Non-lethal is if I use that weapon, the likelihood of it causing you death is non-existent. Almost, right? If I'll give you an example. So I'm trying to get bad guy off the roof. I'm a law enforcement officer. He doesn't want to come off the roof, right? I pull my taser out. I know I have 25 feet of line that I could hit him with, right? Get off the roof, get off the roof. I ain't coming, officer. Psst. I hit him, right? He goes incapacitated. He's going to look like a log, and he falls, boom, falls down on the ground. Good use of non-lethal?
No.
Absolutely not. I'm probably going to get charged, right? Because he didn't have the ability to actually protect himself. Now, if I'm chasing after him, this is what the courts have said, and I'm willing to tackle him, can I tase him? Yeah, absolutely. That would be equal force, right? Because how many people, have you ever been bumped and knocked to the ground or something like that? Most people really don't get hurt, right? Bumps, bruises, but most of the time you won't get hurt. Off the roof, off a tall fence, yeah, it's a different thing. So when you apply that, it depends on the circumstance. I can tell you from my experience, personal experience, tasers don't work sometimes. People fight through that. Right? So stun gun, you may make them mad, may not work. So be careful. Not saying don't use it, just be careful.
Another point on these guys, when it comes to traveling in your vehicle, you're keeping these types of things in there. You cross the state lines, we need to know the laws of the states we're traveling to and through, okay? Even if we're not stopping in those states. If you're flying, these things do not go on the plane, they go where? They go under the plane, right? We're gonna put those in check bags. Firearms typically are gonna have to be in like a hard case, something you can lock. Whether that's a key or a combination, something you only have access to. You're gonna go check that bag, let them know, hey, I've got a special condition. If you've got your LTC, show them your LTC. They're gonna ask you to open up the case, show them that the firearm is unloaded, the magazine is not in the firearm, and if you're gonna carry ammo, the ammo needs to be in some type of container. They prefer it to be in the manufacturer's box if possible, not just in like a Ziploc baggie full of rounds, right? They kind of want it in the right baggie. Same thing with any size knife. Those are going to go in your check-in luggage as well as non-lethals. The non-lethals, you're going to want to make sure that those are secured so that they can't go off in the undercarriage of the plane. That'd be a bad day. Okay, so reach out to TSA before you travel. Make sure that you understand what the airline you're going to be traveling on, that they're good with what you're going to be doing. So make sure you pre-plan for that.
Anytime you're flying, I highly recommend anytime you're flying, contact the airline, talk to somebody, talk to a real person, and say, I'm flying with a weapon. How do I need to have a package for you on your airline? All right, regardless of what you see online, call them, get a name. So that way, if something happens when you get to the airport or somebody questions, go like, hey, I spoke with so-and-so on this day. This is what they told me to do. Everybody good with that? Okay, any questions? All right. State-specific regulations, kind of been going over that. State laws are a lot different. Some places you have a duty to retreat first before you use any type of defense. Permit reciprocity. Do all states recognize Texas LTCs?
No.
No. Right? So if you're a constitutional carry person, you're like, well, I got constitutional carry, you got constitutional carry. It doesn't mean they accept that over there. So again, you need to check, right? USCCA usually reciprocity maps usually pretty good, and use of force laws, right? Like I just said, some states you have duty to retreat, which is just bizarre. You're in your house or you're in your hotel room, where are you going to retreat to? Not many places you could go, right? So you got to be aware of that, because that could get you in trouble really quick. If you do get involved, just out of curiosity, if you do have to use force and the officers arrive, what do you tell the officers?
The truth.
As little as possible.
Sir, I'd love to answer your questions.
But I need orders.
Please let me get my lawyer here so I can talk to him and he can talk to you. Are you being cooperative?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Are you protecting yourself?
Yes.
Yes. Should you protect yourself?
Yes.
100%. I'm so happy you said that, the truth, right? Because in my experience as a law enforcement officer, usually people who did what they thought was right have no problem diarrhea of the mouth telling me everything in the world.
I don't have diarrhea in the mouth.
Right.
Ask him.
I use that term loosely, right? They just want to tell you what happened, what they did, because they don't believe that they did anything wrong. You may inadvertently admit to something that you don't know is wrong. That's why we say, tell the officer, I want to cooperate 100% for you. Just let me get my attorney here. Right?
But you know how many people lie about their names or
Sure.
and everything?
Sure.
But show the truth. Yeah.
I wish I had a nickel for every time somebody lied to me, especially moms, about their sons or their daughters being fugitives. I'd be a millionaire.
I'll just kind of give you an example of why we shouldn't be talking to the police, whether they're on the scene or when we call 911. If you're involved in a violent encounter of some sort, your brain is going to short circuit. We had a guy in a class, he was in Arkansas at the time. He moved here to Texas, but this was about 2 years ago, he said. And he came out in the front yard. The dog, his neighbor's dog, had gotten out and it was attacking one of the kids. He grabbed a shotgun, went out there, boom, ends up shooting the dog to get him off of his kid. He's standing there on the phone with 911. He's got a shotgun in his hand. When he's talking to 911, his recollection of the conversation as the two neighbors came out was, "Hey guys, just go back in the house, stay calm. I'm on the phone with the police right now. Everything's gonna be all right. Just go back in the house. We'll get this worked out." That was his recollection of the phone call. He talked to his attorney and told his attorney, "Hey, you need to get that 911 call," because he was being charged. And the attorney was able to access the 911 call. That is not at all what happened on that 911 call. He told them he was gonna blow their effing heads off. All kinds of expletives, all kinds of violent encounter talk. What we think we're saying in that moment after that violent encounter is not probably what's coming out of our mouth. So the best thing we can do is train ourselves to shut the hell up, say as little as possible.
You're not being passive aggressive, you're protecting your rights. Your rights as an individual. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. If you like an attorney, they can provide you one for you. And then the next things go, with these rights in mind, do you want to give any type of statement at this time? No? Yes, I understand. No, I don't. I'm away from my attorney. Thank you. It's the best thing you could do. I'm not being a butthead. I'm just telling you, this is what you probably should do. Now, what you do is totally up to you. I would definitely have, if you think you're going to get involved in violence, or even if you don't think you're getting involved in violence, I would say having insurance like USCCA is definitely a good thing, hands down. I've had CCW insurance since I retired from law enforcement in 2016. I'm not planning on getting in any type of situation. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen, but I know enough that I don't have enough money to hire an attorney and spend $100,000 on my defense or get expert witnesses. Make sense? All right. Any questions on that? Awesome. All right, life saving. Every car you drive should have basic life saving stuff. What does that mean? Chest seal, tourniquet, and maybe some gauze bandage, right? Simple stuff. You get in an accident, you're bleeding, how are you going to stop the bleed? Well, you could use your clothes. There's a lot of different things you can use, but wouldn't it be nice if you just had just like a trauma kit? How much is that going to cost you?
$23.99.
Anywhere from $75 to $150, depending on who and where you buy it. How much is the class going to cost you? Like, let's say, Stop the Bleed class going to cost you? $0. Go online, type in Stop the Bleed. It'll come up. You register, you take the class online, you find a place to do it in person. It's free. You learn something on how to stop the bleed. If you have kids, I highly recommend you to do that, because the life you may save may be your family's life, right? Comfort items, right? Advil, aspirin, whatever it is, your medications that you have to take. And then medical pouch, basically combination of all this stuff. Band-aids, tape, whatever. Or like this dude right here has a couple of spare AR magazines sitting in there. It's a possibility of being used. Essential tools and equipment. Does everybody know your jack and the leg nut wrench is in your car?
Yep.
Have you figured out how to use it?
Yep.
Right? Probably a good thing to learn how to do it at your house when there's no stress whatsoever. You can figure it out, YouTube it and all that stuff, as opposed to being 12 o'clock at night, some weird area, and you're like, I really don't like standing on the side of the road while cars are going by and me trying to jack up my car. Safety, again, safety and comfort items. Simple water in your car, right? A jacket or a blanket, right? A light blanket. Even in your car.
Some cars don't even come with a spare now.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
So you go look at it and then you don't have one.
Yeah. And like you said, West Texas, so how many people drive through West Texas? I do it a couple times a year. How much stuff is out in the middle of West Texas? There's nothing out there, right? gas stations are sketch at best. So some of the stuff that you can put in your car and just leave in your car, it's a good thing, right? Always think of this. No one is going to save me. I have to save myself. So how am I going to do this? And within reason, you could outfit your car and never have issues. Make sense, folks? Spend a little time up front, a little money up front if you can, and take care of the things that you know or think you know that you could do. Again, experts, we talked about that earlier. Get on the phone, customer service, download the app, sign in as a guest if you're not a member.
And for the non-members in the class, before y'all leave tonight, I'll pull it up on my iPad. There's a QR code that you can scan, it'll take you to the USCCA app, you can create that guest account. And that guest account will give you access to reciprocity information, all that stuff.
Perception of the environment. This is a big one, right? This is usually what gets people into trouble really quick. Sometimes, even here in Texas, when it snows, right? People think that they could drive on the freeway at 55 miles an hour. I love watching all the stuff that happens up in Dallas. It's just like, wow, okay. You know, the temperature is below 32. It's raining, it's turning into sleet, and you're still going as fast as you possibly can down that freeway. Understand that you're setting yourself up for failure. Okay, you get into the mountains, can it go from being nice to like really bad conditions where there's black ice on the ground?
Yes.
Very quick, right? And you won't even see it. So you got to be aware of what's going on. Your comprehension of the situation obviously goes with the perception, right? If you've never been in the mountains or driving the mountains and you know it's bad weather, probably, unless you have to get to that place, maybe hang out someplace and let the weather pass. I know that's not always possible, but unless your life is depending on it or you just have to get there, why risk it, right? Why do crazy stuff? Projecting the future states, right? Kind of like, hey, what's going on in that state? I'll give you an example. Going through Arizona, is Arizona generally like a really hot state?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cooking, right? Feels like an oven. You get in the mountains, can it be snowing? Yeah, right. They have a couple acronyms here: scan, identify, predict, decide, and execute. The one that's taught to the military is this one right here, OODA. It's called the OODA loop, and you often see it in videos where officers are telling people, drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun, right? And what's happening is that officer is going through this OODA loop. He's already observed, he's oriented himself, right? He has his gun out on bad guy, but the decision, he knows what he has to do, but he can't act. And so we call it getting stuck in your OODA loop. Because you need to do this, you already know. Drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun. Suspect starts firing, bang, 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 bang. Then he fires. Well, what should have happened is drop the gun, don't drop the gun, bang, done, right? This loop is constant. There's a gentleman, he's died quite a long time ago. His name was Boyd. He was a fighter pilot in the Air Force. And he actually came up with this. And he used to tell anybody, I will dogfight you and win every time because I could get through this faster than you can. Doesn't matter the plane. Doesn't matter the pilot. I'm better at doing this. And for the most part, you could see that, right? In some of the videos that you see of people, but you often see it in law enforcement, right? They know what to do, they just can't get through the decide act thing. And then after going back, depending on the trauma, because it's traumatic getting in a gunfight, they have trouble doing this, right? The orientation. Has anybody ever been in like a real stressful situation? So your observation goes from out here, I could see peripheral. For me, my vision got to right here. I had to back up before it even open up, right? So you automatically, your body is automatically going to start adjusting to the stress that you see in this. Sometimes your sound. I didn't hear my gun going off. Gun was going off. I didn't hear it, right? So this right here, if you learn how to use it, right, or understand it, you can get through it. Now, you all do this every day. Who didn't drive here today? You drive every day, you do this. You use this all the time, right? Hey, I'm in the middle lane, I want to get to the right lane, right? What do I need to do? Okay, you already observed where you're at. Now I need to orientate myself. Where are the other cars? What's my decision? Put my blinker on if you're really good. If not, you just go to the right or go to the left, right? And then hear the honk, right? Then you acted, right? You either go back in there or you'll keep on going. You're like, I'm so sorry, I need to get over here, right? So you all do this all the time. In self-defense, this becomes very, very critical. Threat? Yes, bang. Threat? No threat, no bang. That makes sense to people? You get that? Colonel Boyd, that's his last name. You ever want to read about him? Pretty phenomenal dude. Did a lot of stuff. Gas stations. Love gas stations. What's the statistic about crime in gas stations? 70%?
15% of violent crime in this country takes place at gas stations. The highest percentage of any location we travel to on a regular basis. When you approach a gas station, your antenna should always be on.
Crazy, right? How many people go to gas stations at nighttime? Where do you think crime is going to happen most?
Nighttime.
Nighttime, right? I always tell my daughters, my wife, don't get gas at nighttime, okay? If you really need it, come home. I'll go back with you. But if not, let's do it during the day. It's not that during the day is going to be the magical witch hour where it's not going to happen. It's just less likely to happen. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So be careful. Watch yourself, reputable gas stations, right? Has everybody seen the thing where they're putting nails inside the gas pumps? So when you put the gas pump back, it doesn't trigger off the gas. So the next person will come, put gas in, the next
you
person will
pay
come,
for
put
it.
gas on your card.
Wow.
But it's always wise to get your receipt.
Yeah.
Then you know that the pump has stopped. Because if you don't get a receipt.
Yeah. What I always do is I hear clear cancel, right? Because then you'll see it on the screen, it'll come up. And if it doesn't come up, cancel, right? Then you know there's something odd happening. Yeah, I saw that. I'm all like, I wish criminals sometimes would apply all their thinking to something positive. They'd come up with something great, instead of trying to rip people off.
It's amazing, that's all.
Yeah. So be careful with that, right? Be careful with that. It's always good if you see somebody or you suspect something, you can stay in your car, right? If you're outside your car, make eye contact with them. You don't have to mad dog them. You can say, hey, how's it going, right? What does that do?
They've been seen.
It lets them know that you know they're there, right? And that you're paying attention. Doesn't mean that they're not going to try to do anything further, but a lot of times when you're confronting people, if they have adverse intentions, let's say, then they start to hesitate. And then they have trouble getting through their OODA loop, right? So understand that. If you really feel threatened, get back in your car, lock the doors, start your car, take off. Right? Simple as that. There is nothing says that you can't do that. Anybody have any crazy stuff happen at gas stations other than that? I used to confront people all the time. So I used to work in South Central LA, as a law enforcement officer. And all the homeless like to hang out at the gas stations and panhandle money, right? And a lot of my time was plain clothes. And so I'd confront them all like, stop begging here, hit the road, kick rocks, right? Because they'll go up to people and they'll be like kind of threatening. I'm all like, you need to stop that, otherwise you're going to jail. Oh, what are you gonna do? Show them my badge. I'm all like, I could arrest you right now. So you need to kick rocks, right? They're looking for this stuff, right? They're looking for people who aren't gonna give them drunk. Some people will give money, yeah, here you go, right? And then they may want to take money from you. So just be careful now. Whatever you're gonna do, just be careful. Common sense, right? One thing, if you feel the hairs on the back of your neck start going up, or you start getting a really bad gut feeling, pay attention to that gut feeling and get away from them. That may be your subconscious mind seeing something that you're not alerting your conscious mind to right now. That makes sense to people, right? We have these instincts for a reason, right? Fight or flight, right? And if you don't want to fight, definitely fight. Rest stops. Has anybody not ever been to a rest stop on the side of the road? Some are okay. A lot of them get closed. If you have kids, go with them to the bathrooms, right? Stand outside the bathrooms, look at who's going inside the bathroom. Let your kids know, hey, if there's anybody trying to do anything in there, scream. All my kids are, my last one just graduated high school. But even with them, I will still go hang outside the bathroom, right? Just to make sure. Because who knows at the rest stops? And there's a lot of nice people that go in there. There are a lot of travelers just like you, right? 100%. But who knows who's hanging out there, okay? Roadside attractions, same thing. Pay attention. Don't assume that everybody has good intentions or wants to do stuff. If you ever want to get real deep into stuff, the whole human trafficking, if that doesn't make you mad, and how it happens and where it happens, wow, crazy, right? We think a lot of times stuff like this is, very safe, don't have to worry about our kids or anybody, and a lot of people get taken. USC, you want to talk about the Protector Academy?
I'm talking about.
There's a bunch of certified instructors. I'm a certified instructor. I do multiple classes. We will go, so we do church, how to protect your house of worship. A lot of churches use